Hello everyone. I'm actually going to show you quick how to make the chicken leg, chicken wing, Rice Krispy treats for the Super Bowl or any kind of party you're having. So basically I started with the pre-made Rice Krispie bars you can see right here. And I've got a bunch done there. And then some drummies over there. Some fondant. So I'm just going to show you really quick how to do the two things. I've got this camera kind of awkward here. So starting with the square, these are like the 0.75 ounces. They come in a 16 pack. They're like $3 at Target. So go ahead, and you saw how I just pinched off that corner there. Pinch it up and off of the rest of the body of the Rice Krispie bar, and then you can start just kind of forming out the wing tip here. Just use your finger and get pressure, like taper it out to a point. And you can give it a little kind of point here, round that off. And then the bottom, obviously, you can leave it a little squared if you want around it. Just give it a more natural shape so that it looks like the actual chicken wing. And you can vary it. You can see I've got some done here. They're all going to be just a tiny bit different. This one's a little chunkier. This was a chunky chicken. This was a really skinny chicken. Like, you get the idea. So that part's easy peasy, as you can see. And this actually looks like something from Labyrinth or some kind of those skating birds, whatever the hell that was from. So for the drummie, this is easy too. Right at the very end, see like the last inch of the bar here? I have huge hands too, so this is probably gonna look different on you. I seriously have like the biggest hands ever. When I had carpal tunnel surgery, I actually needed a special cast because the bones in my hand were so big it didn't fit one for my wrist to finger ratio or whatever. So it was kind of cool to get a special cast made. It was sort of fun. They put like this weird plasticky crap over your arm and they heat it up and it almost just like melts over. But anyhow, so you can see I'm making like a little fish thing here. And you can just slightly round out the edges. They're all going to look a little different, you know, so like that. And then just kind of pinch this bottom part here. So you get the little drummy part. You don't want to go too bonkers with this or it'll fall off. So there's that. Now you can take a knife, skewer. I'm just using this Wilton frosting. I don't know what the hell you call this thing, but so just go ahead and push that in to the bottom. And you get like a little sort of thing. You can spread that open a bit. And just round it out nice. I'm trying to watch everything through my phone right now while I'm doing this because I literally have the camera in my little tin here where I keep cake supplies, I keep decorating supplies. So yeah, so there's a drummie. You saw it's pretty easy. Use your imagination. You can make any part of the chicken that you like. For different stuff or anything. I thought about this for Thanksgiving. I made a cake that looked like an actual turkey, so it turned out pretty cool. I'll show you the next step in a bit. Okay, and I remembered what this thingamajabber was called. It's a cake comb. That's right. I bought it on eBay for like $2. So for the next part, I have this big ball of homemade fondant. I'll tell you the recipe for it while I'm working on putting this over. So take a glob. That was just about an inch there. I don't know. You can roll it out if you want to, but it's such a huge waste of time because it's not like you're covering a cake with it. You're just slopping it on a chicken wing here. So go ahead and just cover that, and you can see how it covers one side, not the other side, but that's okay because you can either kind of make it more thin with your hand before this part, but as you can see, you just push it around and you stretch it to cover the Rice Krispie. Now, chicken wings, I've never seen a pretty chicken wing in my life. Maybe they exist. Maybe you were lucky enough to have one, but I haven't. So Basically, just, you know, wing it. Wing it. Take the fondant and just quickly kind of cover it all up. Now, if you do notice that you don't have enough, like you just have a big bare spot or something, when you're all done, you can grab some more. I think I would have been fine, but see, you just grab it and the warmth from your hand will help to cover that all up. It doesn't have to be perfect. You kind of want these bad boys to look deep fried. I don't do this personally when I created this, but you could probably even dust them, the chicken wing, in like a little bit of, I don't know, some type of pepper powder or something. But you can see now it's covered and it just kind of looks deep fried, but it does get better. And I'm sorry if this is a little bit blurry. I should hold it back. Now I have a skewer here. Now, you know when you get the skin kind of ripply, basically when you deep fry it, you see where the little feathers were and such. So just go ahead and make a bunch of tiny little holes, almost give it that look like the feathers were once there. I don't know if you would call this a follicle. I don't know if it's still a follicle if a feather pops out. So you see how that just gave it a lot more dimension. You can actually take this, the end of the wooden skewer, and you can poke holes like where there might have been some bigger, not holes, but you can see that it's just a little texture. You know, at the tip they have the smaller, I'm going to keep calling them follicles, but where the feathers come out, and then, you know, up as you go in towards the little drummie and such, they have kind of bigger follicle holes or whatever where the hair once was, and when you fry it you get that nice golden sort of color that I made here with the fondant. So that's it, and then I'm going to take some of the coloring and give it a little more life, even more so, but you can do both sides or whatever. You're gonna have a bunch of these. I put them on a platter, something pretty, so they look really kind of realistic from a distance of 8 to 400 feet. So the fondant, you can tell this is kind of a standard fondant that I make. I did do it a little different since the Rice Krispie treats are so sweet. I added a little bit of butter flavored salt. I believe it's Amish, oh man, now I can't remember. Amish country or Amish something, but they're a popcorn company and they make a lovely butter flavored salt. So I started with about 1/3 of a bag of sugar, so about 1/3 of a pound. I'd say it was about 3 cups or so, if that sounds right. I also did a 1/2 stick of salted butter. I did 1 of the, you know, stumpy containers of Jet Puff. I believe it's Kraft, like the Jet Puff marshmallow fluff. Oh, can I say marshmallow fluff since it's not marshmallow fluff? Whatever. And I also did I'd say about a sprinkle, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You can change that, but I also did a little vanilla. So about 3 cups of powdered sugar, 1/2 a stick or 4 tablespoons of salted butter, and 1 container of Jet Puff, the small stubby container, the smallest one you can get. Salt to your tasting, the popcorn salt, butter flavored popcorn salt. And then I also did vanilla. So once I was done with that, I added in some gel food coloring. I did a little bit of the Duff Red, and then I did the Wilton Brown and Wilton Orange. You can see them right over there. And so knead that all together. It's going to take a while to incorporate it all. You can't give up on that. You got to just keep going. But in the end, you'll get this, and it's nice and pliable, dry, sort of shiny. And it's still really workable. It feels slightly cool, so as your hands warm it, you know, it makes it even easier. So I don't know if this is what you would call a typical fondant. You could see right there how when you work it, it gets shiny. See that? And when you sort of work it less, it's a little drier. But that's it for that part. I'll show you the next part here in just a moment. Okay, this is the second to last part. So what I'm going to do, I have just an old like Jif lid here, or from the Jet Puff or whatever, tiny bit of water. I'm going to take a little bit of that brown gel color here, you see? I'm just going to take another skewer, or use whatever. I'm just going to dab a little of that on that little plate there. You can give it a quick rinse with the water if you're going to use it for something else, but I'll just use the other side so I don't contaminate my brownies. Should have done this the other way. But the next thing is I'm going to take a little bit of that orange and sort of dab it on my lid here. You can see just a little bit. You don't need much. Get rid of that skewer before I ruin my favorite band t-shirt. And next we have some of this just really generic red food color. It gives it a nice sort of, I'm just trying to get a tiny bit out of here. Like, there we go. That's way more than I wanted, of course, but it'll do. So now what you're going to do, I got my little chicken wing here on this plate just for painting. Take a little bit of the water and just sort of use your thing here as a palette. Go ahead and mix it up a little bit, whatever you like. And then just for a little bit more realistic look, go ahead and get a little bit of that on there. You can see that I'm just sort of painting on a bit of color. It'll fall into some of the cracks, and that's exactly what you want. You want it to go in some of that cracks, look like the crackly skin and such. I don't even think this is focusing, but you get the idea. I'll show you the finished product when I'm all done with everything. But that's it. So you just want to go ahead and sort of use it like watercolors. Use any kind of food grade, food coloring that you want, and simply paint that fondant. You can see how it's kind of going in those cracks there, so it looks really nice and almost saucy, and it will dry really well. And just sort of go into that fondant there. Give it a nice base. So yeah, that's it for that part. Now, I'm not going to do the actual last part. You'll see with the finished picture, but I'm not going to do a tutorial. I'm just going to explain quickly. So I have here a bag of white chocolate chips. This happens to be Hershey's. You can use whatever. Although I do notice some of the generic ones, the Eileen's, they don't melt down quite how I'd like them to. But regardless, use what you can, figure it out. You're going to want to put these in just a small bowl. I feel like glass works best when you're melting chocolate chips. I don't know if that's the truth for everyone or it's just how my microwave works, but go ahead and take, I'd say probably a half a cup of the white chocolate chips, or chocolate melting bark, anything like that, white chocolate, and go ahead and melt it down in the microwave in short intervals. You don't want to over scorch that. You don't want it to get too hot or it'll just kind of break. But then when you're done doing the fondant, and you'll take it and you'll dip this little bone part, the end of the chicken drummie, into the white chocolate, and just use like a small, dish like this, just a small little dish to where you can really get it in there and dunk it in. And then when you're done, just set it on wax paper and pop it in the fridge for a little bit to set, harden up, and that'll be it. Now, when it comes to the drummies, if you want to do the little paint details, I would actually do that after you do the white food color, just so a little bit of the food coloring doesn't, the white chocolate chips. You don't want to get any of that food coloring into that white chocolate mixture that you're going to dunk into, because it's going to just get orange and ugly. So avoid that at all costs. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to make these now. I think they're really cute. It was just inspired from a turkey cake I made, and a lot of people loved it, made their day, so I'm gonna make a whole bunch now to make some more people's days. Thanks for watching. Bye.